We are here with Earle Hall, who is the CEO of Access. That company, if you see it in writing, is AXES, but you pronounce it ACCESS. Earle, welcome again. Good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me, Frank. I'm very grateful.
And let's start off by you describing what Access is and what Access does.
Number one, we're a big data company. Our goal when we started out this company was to create as much data as we could, heterogeneous big data from all over the world, so that eventually, as we got to a mature level of our business plan, we could start rolling AI algorithms over that, of which we've started this year. But first and foremost, we're a cloud company that picks up data out of slot machines. We put that data into cloud so that we can offer governments, casinos, route and street operations, and even manufacturers data reports real time. And now with COVID in the middle of our world, cashless is becoming quite popular. So that's really pushing a whole new realm of what we offer to our clients.
You mentioned COVID, and this is 2020. We can't have a conversation without talking about COVID. How has COVID affected your business, and how do you see it playing out over the near to midterm for Access and for the industry?
Well, every disaster we've ever had in history, whether it be economic, health, war, anything, has always obliged the world to innovate. The old ways of doing things, server-based products, local reporting, standard, stagnant reporting and information, that was great when the industry was booming or we were even a stable period. Right now that we're in the midst of an economic crisis that is yet to come, innovation is really the key, whether it be in health, transportation, and our industry is not protected from the need for us to innovate. As you maybe have seen, there is major initiatives all over the world to go towards cashless products. Well, we were born out of a cashless culture. It was the very first product we've ever rolled out was Smart Card Cashless. Tito is still doing okay, but once again, people are now looking to go towards contactless solutions, which is native what we do out of the cloud. So COVID, while I'm so sad for everybody that's feeling the negative effects for this, for our cashless and for our contactless initiatives, it's been very impressive to see the number of clients looking to convert so fast.
You mentioned you're a data company and you will provide all of this data, such as straight from the slot machine, to a casino operator. Is there are there analytics involved in this?
It depends on what the operator is looking for. We can provide anything from standard information, which I call static information, to dynamic information, where dynamic information is really behavior based. If you're trying to see what a player's behavior is over time, we provide dynamic reporting as a premium product within our base. But what really excites me and why I started out this adventure was the word predictability. Predictability, of which some people like to call artificial intelligence, we call it actionable intelligence at Access. It's all about being able to see what's going to come. Like if you have an addictive gambler in your midst, it's too late once they're addicted to the product. But when you look at what we collect as data, speed between clicks, change in denomination, change in machine, up and down of cash-in amounts, numbers of cash-ins. Our fine granular data is so transparent that what interests us is the clients that want to predict their future before it happens. So we provide all three levels.
Okay. So who are your clients? You mentioned government, you mentioned casinos. Well, who are they?
The funny thing about most of our clients is that they all make us sign NDAs because they want to go under the radar. Sometimes it's because they're dealing with cloud and they're working on their jurisdictional information or whatever. But we do have governments as clients. We provide everything from anti-money laundering algorithms to responsible gaming algorithms for certain governments. We provide taxation collection for other governments. A big piece of our market is route and street. And why? It's because I love that market. Route and street is probably the market that needs the most amount of advanced technology because they don't have the profitability to buy the big monolithic server-based systems. So having a cloud company like us with almost no physical footprint in the machine and only having to pay a data subscription, that's a market that we're bringing a lot of tools into so that they can mature a lot faster as regulation accelerates to regulate these markets and to actually turn them into the future casinos. So while I don't like getting into naming our clients, which is something I've never done, we do have clients in all four segments, including manufacturers themselves, that have a nightmare of collecting their data, collecting their money, and knowing the game performance. When a company X puts 50 slot machines on revenue share into a client, they want to know which denomination and which game is working the best so that when they send out their end of month revenue report, they're actually proving to the operator that their game is beating the competition. And that's why I love serving the manufacturers as well, because that's what we do. We pick up data very efficiently, we get it in the cloud, and we use it for whatever the client needs, whoever that may be.
One of the objections that casino operators make to the legalization of slots on routes is that there's no player protection. That if a person walks into a casino and you have a banned player, you know that player is banned. Whereas if that person walks into a bar and sits down at a slot machine, the bar owner has no way of knowing who that individual is, no way of tracking how that person is playing and whether there's no red flag comes up. So are you saying that what you can do is provide that sort of player protection even on a level as small as a restaurant or a tavern?
The cool thing about what we built, Frank, is that there's no difference between one slot machine or 1,000 slot machines, because our server does not discriminate between putting a server inside of a building. We have a direct IP connection from one machine to our server, which means that a client that has one slot machine in one bar in whatever state in the United States or wherever they are, they have the exact same functionality as our government system. So if that jurisdiction wants to enact that route and street, must be identified KYC enabled players. They must follow AML rules. They must follow responsible gaming rules. That's already built into our system and available to every single client we have. Let's say a manufacturer in the United States wants to roll out in Latin America in a particular country that does not have responsible gaming or AML rules. Well, that manufacturer could use our system to impose the rules that we already have inside of our system. So and that's one of the big reasons that I joined the International Gaming Standards Association. One was for all the exclusive IP that I could pick up from them. But two, it was to make sure that as the industry evolved, there are tools out there that you can use to legitimize the most immature markets that are out there just by creating a KYC enabled environment. So the simple answer is yes, in our system, there's no discrimination between a government or a route and street operator. The same tools are available for everybody.
Okay. So in that case, a state could require the same player protections regardless of whether someone's going into a multi-million-dollar casino or whether they're going into the tavern.
It's my personal dream.
Right.
Because it's the same player that's got barred out of a casino that's addicted, or it's the same group that is trying to money laundering inside of a casino that may be in those immature places. And that's where the leading edge companies, like there's a couple of us out there, but Access is one of them. Well, we're the ones out there trying to provide these advanced tools so those markets can have the same credibility as a tier one market.
So what is the future of Access if we have the same discussion 3 or 4 years from now?
It's been a long time coming. I've been at this for almost 7 years now. We're on the cusp right now where we're starting to roll out our first third-party apps. My ultimate dream when I started Access and I took over from the old management team that was evolving to other things was I had two goals. One was get enough data so I could start to run the algorithms over a big data, heterogeneous data set. That's strong enough now. And the second thing was to build our app store so that we can invite anybody in the world to build an app, put it onto our app store so that our clients could pick and choose from 10 types of jackpots, 15 types of loyalty programs, pick up raffles, pick up anything that they would like as a tool. So 2021 to 2023 for us is really two things now that the base is built. It's number one, getting the app store up, which will look a lot like the Apple App Store. And the second thing is the AI division that's going to be creating as many predictive tools as we can so that all of those apps will have a predictive level inside of them. That's where the next big investment is coming in the company in the spring of next year, focused on the App Store and our AI future now that we have so many terabytes of data is not even funny anymore.
Right. Would you someday be a public company?
That's my other dream. I absolutely loved being a publicly traded CEO for the very simple reason is you're held accountable at 4 o'clock every afternoon. It brings you into a very, very laser focused way of working in a company. So of course, I'm constantly modeling the company from a financial reporting point of view with my team so that we can prepare for that eventuality. Once the App Store is up, we will have the breadth of product to be able to say we can generate the future looking financial statements to take this company public.
Great. We're talking about the gaming industry, but I suspect that what you have developed, you folks at Access are developing, are tools that can be used in a whole variety of industries.
We were asked by Coca-Cola once to put in our black boxes inside of Coke machines in a country because they wanted to pre-plan filling up the Coke machines and count the coins coming down. And I refused. My mentors, when I joined this industry in 2004, of which Mike Telesmanic was one of the greatest from the Harris Corporation and from a couple of other casino chains that he worked with. The love that they've given me of this industry gives me the fuel to say that when I leave this industry one day, it's my goal and my obligation to make it a better place than when I started. And that's where big data comes in and really does three things that no other tool can, which is KYC, know your client, predictive responsible gaming, and predictable AML. And really outside of the shareholder value things and the client value things that we're working on, like the App Store, AI, automated installs, and a whole bunch of crazy things that I'm in love with. Those are the three big goals that the day I look behind me, I want to see KYC check, AML check, and predictive responsible gaming all sorted with everybody that I'm working with inside and outside Access, because this is an industry movement we have to create. Because there's a fallacy out there that responsible gaming will bring down casino revenue. Well, the day we can gain enough credibility as an industry that we're protecting our industry against corruption and addictive gambling, well, then we can apply strategies that other industries are applying to get an extra $20 out of a player that's not having an addictive moment. We can create a better experience. We can go deeper into gameplay. And more importantly, we can create an industry that will be able to honestly compete against other entertainment industries online that are trying to whittle away at the revenue that our industry creates. So while we could go into another industry, we have no interest. We have our industry deep into our DNA and into our passion.
Okay. Just one specific question, then we'll kind of sum up. But last time we spoke, you talked a little bit about blockchain and security. Maybe you can touch on that again.
Well, Frank, I'm an extremist when it comes to this one, because when you talk about big data means that you're holding information inside of a cloud somewhere, which means that you're not inside of a local area. Although I don't believe in local hosted data because it can be damaged, destroyed, corrupted locally. When you go into a big data environment, you only have one option, and that's blockchain. And I don't mean Bitcoin or any of that craziness that's out there. When you look at blockchain, all you're looking is at security algorithms that chain together data inside of a database. And the two best that I know are Azure and IBM. We chose Azure because the speed at which their blockchain tools are advancing. So while I haven't been beating my drum lately about blockchain, because really I don't think anybody wanted to listen over the last year, Access is completely running on the Azure blockchain for the very simple reason is our number one goal is to protect the data and our clients that is inside of our database. So blockchain is the future of data protection and big data. And fortunately, the major databases that are out there are all offering this kind of hashing technology to make sure that data is safer and safer every day, while the biggest threat I've seen in my IT career is coming at us at lightning speed, which is quantum computers. So yes, blockchain is still centric for us as our protection to our own clients. But at the same time, we have to give the rest of the industry time to catch up and understand how mission critical blockchain is to protect player data, machine data, and more importantly, behavioral data.
This is a question, maybe a naive one from a non-technical person. I understand the concept of the cloud and why the cloud gives you capacity and security that you don't otherwise have. How does one secure the cloud itself? Is it redundancy, or can someone take down a cloud?
Wow, that's such a good question, Frank. Really, there's three levels that I would say in cloud security. First, it is all of the firewalls that you put in place. It's all of the detection systems that you put in place to see if there's a potential intrusion. So they're basically tools of something, it's more evolved than an antivirus, of course, but it's something like a Norton antivirus that you would put on a computer back in the 1990s. That's the first level of security. The second level of security, once again, is in the hashing or the protection or the locking down of each piece of data, so that even if somebody jumps the fence, jumps the antivirus, jumps the firewall, and they're inside of the system, they can't get a hold of anything because of the level of encryption of the data. That's level two. And when the intrusive person comes in, or the bot or the tool comes in, by the time they even find a small hole to start digging, the intrusion technology will just unplug them and get rid of them. But level three, you've hit on the most important thing. Why did I ask my board of directors 3 years ago for $5 million? And they're all looking at me because they're mostly non-technical people. And I was getting the German Shepherd look a little bit. I said, well, Microsoft Azure is a virtual technology. There's no hardware involved. I can literally drag and drop an instance of our server anywhere in the world, anytime. But at the same time, once you're in a virtual technology, like we use VMware on the bottom and we use Azure on the top, Once you're in this virtual world, you can create infinite scalability and infinite redundancy, which means if I have a client that's running with a cloud, and all of a sudden they go from 1 million transactions an hour to 10 million transactions an hour, well, what Earle will do, it will just multiply the number of servers so that we can get the data in without losing speed of transaction. And the second thing is that in the old world that I come from, where everybody was checking their email to see if it was time to do the data backup, well, you don't have tape backups in this virtual world. It's because there are scripts, there are automated scripts that are running in real time, creating redundancy all over the world. So once you get into this Azure world that we're in, security is easier, hashing is so very easy, and more importantly, redundancy is infinite. So let's say there was a major SQL database crash. Well, it's as simple as switching over to the redundant mirror server that's running in parallel, which should be done automatically. And the client doesn't even see the blip on the radar, which is the way Facebook runs. It's the way Amazon and Netflix runs. It's the way the real cloud world is running today.
Okay, very interesting. Very educational as well, Earle. Any final thoughts?
My final thought goes out to all my friends and colleagues in the gaming industry. I know we're in a tough time. I know there's a lot of hard times ahead of us. But one of the amazing things about the gaming industry is, one, everybody bands together, and the resiliency of this industry. I really hope everybody well and that they stay healthy. And as always, if anybody needs anything, please just text me. We're all here as a team to get through this. There's no real competitors anymore in our industry. So I'm wishing everybody well, Frank, and especially you. Thank you so much for what you do. I know I say this in private, but I wouldn't mind saying it publicly. You were my PhD education in the gaming industry in my first years. I read your report religiously before the morning coffee, and I'd like to thank you for that.
Well, Earle, thank you very much. And you, as you understand, we got a lot of folks on our team who do the real work every day.
Same here,
I get to enjoy talking to folks like you. Earle, thanks again.
Thank you so much, Frank. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.